Alright, you guys, what is good? William Trostel here. Today we are going to talk about something that I've been thinking about putting out for, a little bit now, maybe 2-3 weeks, but I'm finally getting around to it now. But because it's a new year and I've recently updated to a new camera system, specifically going from DSLR to mirrorless, I wanted to speak on that and some of the equipment and things that I've gathered pretty much from late 2020 into now being 2021. I want to keep it simple, 3 pieces, some big, some small, some expensive, some not, that are making a huge impact in what I shoot, how I shoot, the things that I shoot. And, hopefully if you guys had any questions about this equipment, this answers some of it. Of course, this is just my point of view. I shoot Nikon. I don't expect everybody to want to shoot Nikon themselves or use the equipment. But, for the few people out there that do, this is for you. And I will link the products below. That way you can check them out yourselves if you do have interest in such. But that being said, let's get to it. Alright, you guys, so first things first, this is my camera body. This is my main body. This is the Nikon Z6. It's a mirrorless camera. I purchased this maybe around fall, I think. This thing has been absolutely incredible for me. This thing has never let me down. I'm still learning a lot about it. I'm not a pro with this body by any means as far as the things I know about it and the things I can do with it, and just having a full understanding of everything that it's capable of, because I upgraded from Nikon DSLRs to this. So obviously changing systems, there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to get used to. But some of the major talking points that I'm going to say about this camera, and the first one being weight and size. I've always been somebody, I was like, I'm young, I'm athletic, I could care less about size and weight. It doesn't even matter to me. Why do people care about this? Why is everybody so concerned about it? And now that I've picked this thing up, I completely understand why everybody cares about it, because I can shoot a wedding for 10 hours and not feel like my arm is going to fall off. This thing, I don't know the exact weight, but I know that it's light, it's small, there's not a problem. I mean, I have the tendency to be very shy and quiet. I'm not somebody that likes the attention and all eyes on me. And this thing, being paired with the 24-70 f4, it's extremely small. You can go in concert settings, RIP, hopefully they start soon. You can go in concert settings, you can go in public settings, you can go to, large gatherings of any kind, and essentially pull this thing out and nobody's even going to really realize it. Where if you're shooting with a big DSLR with a 70-200, everybody's looking at that thing like you got a gun strapped to your shoulder. This thing, it's sleek, it's small, it really helps with weddings. I mean, that is massive. That is one of the biggest things that I've realized with this, is how much better my arms feel when using this in comparison to a massive DSLR with a battery grip and a 70-200 on it. I mean, this is a game changer as far as comfort goes, and with sizing when it comes to, getting on an airplane and, or going on any trips where fitting things into backpacks and fitting things into suitcases when that becomes relevant, I mean, this is really going to help you out. This thing's small. It's extremely small when paired with the 24-70 f4. So that's one of the major things for me. The other major thing is the price point. This is something that, because the Z6 Mark II came out, the price points dropped significantly. Right now on Amazon, this thing is $1,597, and it looks like there's some used for $1,200. So it's definitely not something that, I mean, it's a substantial purchase, but compared to a lot of other things, it's, or a lot of other bodies, it's definitely on the more affordable side. Another thing that I've really come to appreciate coming from DSLR is the fact that the viewfinder, the electronic viewfinder, is a game changer, and the LCD on the back. I mean, first off, they're high resolution, so it's just like the things that I shoot, I can just look at the viewfinder or look at the LCD on the back and they're crystal clear. And because it's not an optical viewfinder, because you're actually just, when you look through the viewfinder on this thing, you're actually seeing a screen. It's not like DSLRs where there's like a mirror that shoots out and you're seeing like the actual live image. You're just seeing an image on the screen inside here. So you can customize it, that you can put the little like level thing that kind of shows you like if your camera's tilted or not. You can put you can do like focus peaking. You can do you can check your shadows and highlights in here, and all that stuff you can add to the info that you see on the inside of the screen along with the photo itself, which that to me is awesome. And the back LCD on this is touchscreen, so you can just zoom in, you can swipe through the menu and do all that stuff, which is really convenient. And I've really come to appreciate that, and I've really come to utilize it. And a lot of times I'm still using a toggle stick on the back, not even remembering that this thing is touchscreen. So I need to get used to that, because I just think it's way more efficient and quicker to just slide through on touchscreen. And the final and arguably most important talking point about this camera is the fact that it's a hybrid. I mean, it's designed, as most are, to be, pretty much like a mix between photo and video. I'm not going to go and speak for 10 minutes about all the specs, and you can find that elsewhere on the internet. But some main points are, photo-wise, it obviously shoots in RAW. I believe it shoots at 12 frames per second, and its dynamic range and how sharp it is, its color profiles, everything like that, it's all been, really good. And I've really thought that I've produced some quality photos with it, and it's really delivered. And I mean, I'm shooting weddings with this thing, so like, I don't know that you can shoot anything that's, more demanding when it comes to just rapid firing photos and being in really complex and dark, very bright, just switching all that around. And this thing has very much handled that. And from a video aspect, it shoots 4K, it shoots 1080 at 120, and those are things that I've really come to utilize. And like right now, this video, this is being shot on a Nikon DSLR, but a lot of my other videos are shot on this in 4K or in 1080 at 120, and it's really become a worthwhile investment for that reason, because I can literally go out and shoot 4K or slow motion cinematic stuff at 120 or 60 frames per second, and then the very next second I can switch my settings over and shoot stills and combine both in a video, or just put out a photo set about a trip that I went on, and also put out a completely separate video about it because I'm able to switch back and forth. This thing also comes with the FTZ, which is just basically a real cute way of saying F2Z, which basically converts your old Nikon F lenses to the new Z mount. So, I mean, you can get it bundled, and I think it only costs like $50 more, which is, if you buy the camera and then you buy the adapter, it's like 5 times more than that if you buy it separately. So it's definitely worth it to get it bundled. I shoot quite a number of F lenses on this, and I haven't had any problems. The Z lenses for sure are faster autofocus, and they're more precise autofocus, but not everybody can afford to obviously upgrade to all Z lenses at one time. So if you're still shooting F lenses, I mean, buying this adapter is definitely the way to go, and getting it with the camera at the same time in a bundle is for sure the way to go from a price point standpoint. So that's really massive to me as to why I enjoy this camera. It's something that ultimately has made this decision to buy this camera very much worth it. I would absolutely recommend anybody that's, still shooting DSLR and considering it. If you're considering Nikon, I would 100% suggest looking into this, because like I said, it's a cheaper price point now because the Mark II came out. Maybe this is a great option to start with, and then maybe down the road you invest in the Z6 Mark II, and then you have 2 Z6 bodies, one as a backup. But this camera is incredible. 100% suggest checking this out. And once again, I'll leave the link below for this for you guys to check out and consider. Alright, you guys, so this next piece of equipment is the Nikon 24-70 f4S lens. It is made for the new Nikon mirrorless lines. This lens is pretty much like one of the best bang for your buck lenses I can think of. I mean, this thing, it literally costed me, hold on, let me check real quick. This thing, so this thing on Amazon costs $996.95, but you can get this thing used for $485. And that's actually what I did. I bought this thing used. This thing couldn't have been used more than a couple times when I purchased it off Amazon. I'm pretty sure I got mine for maybe like $500 or $600. The price point alone was amazing. I mean, 24-70, I know it's not 2.8, it's f4, but still a constant aperture of f4 is still very important. And on top of that, I mean, the thing is, it's so light. One of the major components behind this thing is the fact that, like, if you... Wow, I can't get this lens hood off. There we go. So this thing actually compacts down. It locks. There's like a locking mechanism. So when you open it like this, now it's at 24 and then it zooms all the way out to 70. But when you lock it, it actually shrinks down and it compacts to literally that size. I mean, if you're hiking, which in Pennsylvania there's tons of trails everywhere, that to me is a massive perk. Being able to literally have something, a lens that's a 24-70, which can hit almost everything that you need on a like little hiking trip or at the beach or anything like that. To literally have something that small, that's incredible. And on top of that, this thing is light. I don't know the exact weight of it. Maybe they'll say it here on Amazon. Nah. Yeah, I don't know. This thing gotta be like 2 pounds max. I can't imagine it's much heavier than that. I mean, this thing is so small and so light. And when you pair it with a Nikon mirrorless body, I mean, this thing is, just the whole setup is so damn light. I mean, it's so worth it. And then on top of that, the optics. I mean, like I said, this thing is a constant f4, which is, as I said, it's not 2.8. Obviously, that's when you're shooting portraits. That's that's a big draw in for that lens, the 24-70 2.8. But if you're somebody that's not constantly shooting portraits like landscape, I mean, it might not be that big of a deal, or street photography. But I mean, this thing, the optics are, I've always, I think this lens is super sharp. I think that the f4, it's, again, not as good as 2.8, but f4 is not the worst in the world, so that's not something that kills it for me anyways. The focal length, 24-70, I don't think there's a better focal length range. I mean, you can literally shoot street, you can shoot landscape, portraits. I mean, you can accomplish it all with the 24-70. And on top of that, the focus is extremely quick on this lens, and it's just accurate. I mean, I've never had a problem with it focus hunting with this lens. I shot this thing in the dark. I shot this thing at weddings, and typically it performs very well, unless, of course, there's an instance where the reception of a wedding, all the lights tend to be off for, whatever reason. But this thing has always performed well. The focal length is great. The aperture, again, is not the biggest deal in the world. It's extremely light. It's extremely compact. And when paired with the Z6, or, which is the camera that I have anyways, it's a extremely great travel setup. And when you're flying too, that's so important to have things that are very small and compact and light. Obviously that matters when you're boarding a plane, and I feel as though I can literally travel to, wherever, Florida, Cali, wherever, and just take this paired with the Z6 and a gimbal and literally accomplish almost everything that I need to do. This thing is incredible. Highly recommend this thing. And if you're shooting Nikon or considering it, I would highly suggest looking into this. Alright, so next up, this is the Optech USA double sling strap. This thing has literally been a game changer for weddings. This thing, anybody that shoots weddings knows that shooting with dual cameras is 100% the way to go. You can literally have a 24-70 on one camera and a 70-200 on the next, and just that complete range changes everything. And this was the first dual strap that I bought. But prior to this, everything that I had was just a single strap, whether it was leather, nylon. Typically the ones I used were the ones that literally came with the camera. But I knew going into this wedding season that I wanted to have more functionality, and at this point, being 2020, I had two bodies as well, and I wanted to start utilizing that more. So what I did was I went and bought this, and as you can see, it's literally just these black shoulder straps, and then, down here is where your camera would connect to it on both sides. And it only cost me $32, which in my opinion was extremely cheap. I mean, you can have camera straps cost upwards of $100 plus, which I'm sure a lot of diehard wedding photographers will tell you to get those and really invest and protect your equipment. And that was one of the things that I worried about when I bought this one, was because like I never even knew the company before I bought it, and the security of, is this going to handle my equipment? And that was kind of nerve-wracking, but the reviews on it were good, and I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to try it out. And the thing, I mean, I've shot probably about a dozen weddings with it so far, and the thing has absolutely not let me down. And actually, one of the things that I maybe appreciate most about it, besides its functionality at weddings, is the fact that you can literally disconnect this strap and then you can literally use it as just a regular camera strap. I mean, you can literally take it and you can snap it in to the extenders, which go on each side of your camera, as the dual straps normally will. They'll have little clips on each side of the camera that your like camera strap would normally go into. You strap one on each side and then you just plug it, and then boom, there you go. It's as easy as that. So I mean, this thing is definitely worth it. It's definitely worth the money. Like I said, $32 is nothing for a camera strap. I mean, most of your single straps are probably even like $60. So to get this thing for $30, $32, $95 specifically, but to be able to get that and then have the security that was originally what I thought was going to be the issue, and is not, because it's held up pretty well. And one of the cameras, I mean, on one side it's a mirrorless body, which is light, and that's the lesser of the concerns. But on the other side, sometimes I literally have a DSLR with an extended grip and a 70 to 200, which you can't. I mean, what setup is heavier than that? And the thing has not let me down. It's done great. Yeah, so with its simple design, its extremely inexpensive price, good reviews, and it being two-way functional between being a dual camera strap and then literally taking it apart and you can just use it as a single camera strap. I mean, it's definitely a go-to. I would highly recommend it, and I just don't think you can go wrong. Alright, you guys, so thank you for tuning in. I hope if you were interested in any of this equipment, some of this answered some questions, or at least brought up the possibility of possibly upgrading to this, or picking up a few extra pieces here and there. This is clearly directed more towards Nikon shooters, unless of course you're interested in the camera strap. But I will leave the links below, as I said earlier, and hopefully you guys check it out, and maybe some of you guys get a new camera body. But I'll talk to you guys later.